So welcome everyone to Do It in Durham. We're celebrating Global Entrepreneurship Week this week, and it's such an honor. Thank you, Teresa, for inviting me to come speak again. I love talking about social media. I love talking about content and small business, whether it's small, what is small, right? So you raise a good point there, Teresa. Absolutely. But we're different, right? We're entrepreneurs. Many of us are probably solopreneurs. I can see in the chat how many years many of you have been in business. Some are starting brand new businesses. Some of you have been in business for many years, and that's wonderful. Welcome to all of you. The honest truth is we can all learn from one another regardless of where you are in business. So it's always very exciting to hit that pause button and to come and learn. So thank you so much for joining today. I would like to begin with a land acknowledgement by acknowledging that the land on which I am delivering this training is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Wendat, Anishinaabe peoples, and the Treaty of the Williams Treaties First Nations, as well as many other Indigenous peoples whose presence here continues to this day. I am grateful for the opportunity to live and to work on this land. And Teresa, I'm hearing a notification bell. I don't know if you're able, if that's yours, or if there's somebody else that you could mute for me. That would be really wonderful, because I get distracted and squirrel so easily, which brings me to my next quick point, which is I have notes in front of me. And the reason for that is because I can go down rabbit holes. I get so excited to talk. I go down these rabbit holes, and they're great ones, don't get me wrong, but I'm here to deliver specific content to you today, and I want to make sure that I deliver on that. So I do have notes. If you see me glancing down, that is why. Very intentional things that I would like to share. I'm going to start off with this video here, and you don't really need to hear the sound. I think I've shared my sound, but if you can't hear it, it's not about the sound, it's what you see. And so it's super short. Let's see. Oh, okay. So can any of you relate to that in your journey of being an entrepreneur? Drop a yes, or let us know. Um, Let us know in the chat, right? We all go through this type of a journey, whether we look at a little zoom in window of a specific part of our journey or overall. And this is something that we need to remind ourselves of, right? Just when that gentleman was getting to the top, we think, oh, okay, he's going to make it. He falls all the way back down again, right? And that's what this journey of entrepreneurship is all about. So let that be a good visual to remind yourself when you're feeling down and when you feel like you have failed, when something hasn't worked out the way that you intend. You've put out some magical content that you're super excited about and nobody responds. It happens. It's part of it. And sometimes when you're just one step or 1 millimeter away from getting to that place that you want to get to, you fall down. and many people stay fallen down. And this is a great reminder that we need to keep going and keep moving forward. So if you have questions throughout this talk, please put them in all caps if that's easy for you to do, just so that they stand out to me and to Teresa, so that at the end, if I haven't addressed those questions, they kind of stand out as we scroll back. So put those questions in all caps. I'd like to also let you know on a little insider thing. This sign back here, you probably can't read it. It says "You do you." That is my mantra. And it's here to serve as a reminder to me, but also to all of you and everybody that, that I touch, to remember that we're all unique individuals. We all have unique businesses. And I am going to consider today's talk a win if you walk away with one key aspect that resonates with you, that you want to further investigate or focus on for your unique business. And please hold me accountable. At the very end, I would like to talk to you very briefly about the 5th annual Heartledpreneur Plan Fest that's happening starting next week, actually. There are 3 ways to participate. We have 2 individual full day sessions, and then next week I have 1 hour a day for people who want to kind of spread it out. So remind me, because I have a gift to offer you before we all leave. So why are you here? You are likely a heart-centered individual, which also spills over into your business. And I call those of us who are heart-centered business owners Heartledpreneurs. I run a Heartledpreneur collective, which is a community of heart-centered business owners. And I want to welcome you here today. A very quick tidbit about myself. I love astrology, and I tap dance around human design as well. It's been a very empowering aspect of my journey as an entrepreneur. When I can, I get out into nature as much as I possibly can. I love to hike and be out in nature and take photos. And when I'm inside, I love to bake. And my daughter has now taken over the baking in the house for the most part. If she sees me even looking in a recipe book, she jumps in the kitchen before I can even get there and starts to bake, which is fun. It's fun. And then she guides me in the kitchen, which is super fun too. And I'm also a very musical human being. I always say something, when something lights me up, I always say that makes my heart sing, because I truly hear music almost all the time. So that's just a little bit about me. Okay, so this is probably going to be the easiest quiz you've ever taken. I want you to count on your fingers. I did teach kindergarten once upon a time. I taught music too. And I'm going to give you full permission to count on your fingers how many of these, and I'll read them out, so don't feel like you have to do it right now. How many of these resonate with you? How many can you connect with? And just keep track on your fingers. Do you struggle with keeping a consistent schedule for your content? And I want to be clear, when I'm talking about content today, I'm not just talking about social media content, right? It's any type of content that you are creating for your business. It could be blog, podcast, guest posts, writing for publications, any form of social media, newsletters, like all of the content, right? Because really all of the content that we create for our business is meant to be put out there so that we can attract and are aligned audience and we can connect with them. So do you struggle keeping a consistent schedule with your content? Do you feel that you often lack creativity and that ideas don't flow to you easily? Do you feel uncertain when you create content that it will resonate with your aligned audience? Do you feel lost or scattered in your branding or your messaging and how you show up online? Do you find yourself in social media or online overwhelm in general on a regular basis? Do you find you are struggling? Do you find you are juggling so many balls in the air that you are often having trouble knowing where to start? Do you feel that you have little or no structure, consistent workflow, or routines with regards to your online presence? So, count your fingers and drop your number in the chat below. It doesn't matter what your answer is, you will not be alone. And while you do that, let us know also in the chat what brought you here today. There must have been something in the title or the description of this talk that you said, yep, I've got to be there, and you actually showed up. So thumbs up to you for showing up. I'm curious to know what attracted you to this talk today. You might be feeling stuck or uncertain how to figure out how to create heart-centered content that attracts your aligned audience. And you may struggle coming up with content ideas that will highlight what you offer and that can attract your audience at the same time, all while juggling a fear of being too salesy. Give us a thumbs up or a high five if that's you, that you have a fear of being too salesy. You may feel like you are often throwing spaghetti at the wall, consistently trying out new offers, new posts, new ways of sharing your information with zero or little results. Being a solopreneur can be very lonely, and many of us solopreneurs struggle focusing on what to do next, how to stay organized, and juggling all of the hats that we wear as a business owner. And that feeling of overwhelm can leave us feeling a lack of clarity. And then that lack of clarity actually shines through in our content. And when you have a lack of clarity, you can only imagine how your audience feels. So let us know if you often second guess yourself when you're creating a social media post or a newsletter or any other form of online content. And before hitting publish, do you often find yourself wondering if it's going to sound too salesy, or maybe you worry that it's not even going to resonate with your audience? So I'm just going to scroll back. I saw lots of numbers there ranging from, I think, 3 all the way up to 7. So we can see that we are not alone. Oh, a school assignment, Vanessa. Welcome, welcome. Aligned audience. I'm a rare bird who avoids social media, even though I create branding and social media for others. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. You know what? Sometimes what we do business, or what our gift is, we do it for so many other people that it is sometimes hard to do for ourselves. I can feel you on that. A mix of all of them. I need to know how and where to create content. So far it's been digital flyers with my services nonstop. Aligned audience intrigued me. I love it. I love it. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. So just a little bit more about me. The first half of my life, I spent feeling like I didn't belong. Maybe this resonates with some of you, a square peg trying to fit yourself into a round hole. I eventually discovered, and probably not too long ago in the grand scheme of things, that we're actually not meant to fit in. We're all meant to be unique, and we're meant to shine our uniqueness and share our uniqueness out in the world. That's what makes us attractive to other people. And the reality is, connecting with that aligned audience, we want the people who are aligned with us to be attracted to our content, to be attracted to us. It's for me, it's not so much, some people call it a target audience, but for me, that's very outbound. That's very clinical, like that we're targeting people, and these are the people we're targeting, and no judgment against it whatsoever. I just find that aligned audience resonates with my heart a little bit. It's more gentle. But what it also means is that you're coming together. You're coming together with your clients. You're coming together with your potential clients, and you're in alignment together. Instead of targeting, you're creating content to target those people. That's what heart-centeredness is all about. And so we are meant to shine uniquely as ourselves. And that's where my you do you mantra comes in, and why I keep it up there. I point to that sign literally at every single talk, workshop, group coaching session, individual coaching, like it comes up all the time. And there's a reason for that, right? It's of us second guess ourselves. I'm known as an let's try that again. Intuitive, I think I made up a word there in digital, intuitive digital unicorn. I have many clients who reach out to me without me saying anything about that, saying, oh my gosh, Amanda, you're an intuitive digital unicorn. Thank you. I was just born with a gift. I'm good at what I do, and I've been able to do it all of my life. I remember being in grade 5, and my dad was a superintendent of schools in Toronto, and he brought home a computer and had no idea even how to turn it on. And I just did. It just worked for me. So these types of things, like it just comes intuitively, it comes naturally. It's my gift. And today I want you to think about what gift you have that you can celebrate in your business. I like to soak up information like a sponge. I love to learn. I am the founder of the Heartledpreneurs Collective, as I mentioned before, Digital Girl Consulting. I'm a part-time marketing professor with Seneca, and I'm the president of Fem City Newmarket. So I wear lots of hats, like you probably do. Let us know what some of the hats you wear in your life or in your business. I love to get to know the people that I am sharing space with. My purpose on this planet is to empower others to be confident in themselves and their gifts, and to serve and support humans in their journey, specifically heart-centered solopreneurs. I don't believe in a one-size-fits-all approach ever. I just don't. Each of us are unique. Therefore, our businesses are unique, and how we connect with our aligned audience is unique. And yes, there are certain frameworks and there are certain structures that can be very consistent. I also believe that as a one size fits all, like it just doesn't work, right? We need to figure out all of this information. If you've attended multiple talks today, you're going to be soaking up all kinds of information. You're probably a sponge too. And remember that just because one person says it doesn't make it the be all and end all, and you should be doing it, right? You've got to make sure that it feels good on your heart. You've got to make sure that it suits you, and so that you can truly embrace it and then attract that aligned audience because you are doing you. See, there's you do you again. I believe that confident is how business owners feel once they have the knowledge, the support, and the tools in order to take the steps required in their business to create a place of ultimate impact. Why? Because confidence combined with knowledge and wisdom and experience creates space for those magical things to happen. I like to call that when the ball starts to roll, right? Have you ever experienced a moment in your business where something's just working, it's working really well, and you just feel that energy? That's when your ball is starting to roll, and we get to celebrate and do that happy dance. And please make sure that you do take that moment to hit that pause button and to celebrate every single win in your business, the small ones and the big ones. It's so very important. So today I'm here to invite you to gain some new knowledge, perhaps a different insight or a new perspective, and learn how you can be more confident in connecting with your aligned audience through your online presence and your marketing, and to be able to make that lasting impact that comes when you serve your purpose as an entrepreneur. So let's dive in. Okay. So I have no doubt that you love what you do. However, you're likely often overwhelmed, and sometimes you don't even know where to begin. And many entrepreneurs feel like they're being pulled in 1,002 different directions, all while navigating all of those shoulds that I just talked about, what you should be doing, or you should try this, or you should be doing that. And the reality is, not all of those should things are things that you should be doing. So please make sure that you're making good choices for yourself. And it's natural that we feel overwhelmed, right? And so if you feel today in this talk that something like you're feeling too much information is coming at you, you're starting to feel it overwhelmed, hit that pause button. Think about what truly is resonating with you. Perhaps you have no plan when it comes to the online aspects of your business, and you want to feel more organized when planning out your content. And time, we need to talk about time for a moment. Time is a hot commodity. Do you agree with me? Drop a yes in the in the chat if you believe that time is a hot commodity. You may feel like you're lacking the time that you feel it would take to have the online presence that you desire. And I'm here to say that's not necessarily true either. Okay. So time is something that we're always going to be wanting more of. It's just the reality of life. And we need to figure out how to create, I'm going to call them systems as a technical word, that work well for us as a unique individual in order to maximize our time, in order to maximize our productivity. Many entrepreneurs also feel stuck and frustrated when it comes to content ideas and planning. And you probably have really big dreams and burning desires to make an even bigger impact, but you don't know how to attract the aligned clients that you can make the great big impact with. Or perhaps you have some confusion about who your aligned audience is. So if you know who your aligned audience is, again, I'd love for you to share it in the chat if you feel comfortable. That would be absolutely amazing. I love to draw on examples when I can, and it's best if I can draw on an example that at least one or more of you can connect with and resonate with you. You may lack consistency in your online presence, which puts you into a downward spiral of self-sabotage because what does consistency mean for you, right? You're unique. Remember that. So your consistency is not going to look the same as my consistency, and it's not going to look the same as your competitor's consistency either. And that's where you do you comes in, right? You need to figure out something that works for you, a system that works for you so that you can be consistent in it and so that it lights you up. Yesterday, I had the honor and pleasure of tuning in. Unfortunately, I missed part of it, but to Tammy Hudgens' amazing talk yesterday and teaching people how to create Facebook ads. Today, this morning, I was at a networking event. Somebody was asking me about what I do, and they said, "Oh, that you're digital marketing. You do Facebook ads. You must do all kinds of ads." And I said, "Actually, I don't, because that's not something that lights me up. I'm not in the back end of Facebook creating ads day in and day out. So I don't consider myself an expert in it. When I'm working closely with one of my aligned clients one-on-one and Facebook ads happens to come up, we work on it through it together. Don't get me wrong, but it's not something that lights me up that I share out into the world saying, come to me and I'll help you do my Facebook ads, right? That's something that perhaps somebody like Tammy can help you with. Tammy, I hope it's okay that I'm shouting out to you for that. Okay, one last thing. Perhaps you are scared or lack the confidence to show up as the face of your brand. If that's you, let us know if you feel comfortable. So many people hide behind the wall of their business. And the reality is, as an entrepreneur, and even if we're not a solopreneur, even if we do have a team, you are likely the founder of your business. You are the person that makes those decisions. You are a human being. And guess what? We all like to do business with people that we know, like, and trust. I'm sure you've probably heard that before. How do we know, like, and trust you if you're hiding behind the walls of your business? I went to a website the other day. I think I got onto it through an Instagram ad. I don't even know, but I went down a rabbit hole like I often do, and I landed on a website, and it was a great product, but I wanted to know more about the values of the company because that's very important to me and who's standing behind it. And there was zero information. I could not figure out where the business was located, who the founder was, any human beings. Like, there was not a mention of a human being on their website, and it felt a little inhumane to me, if I'm being honest. I really feel connected when I can learn a little bit about the person, about their passion, about why they started what they're doing. I need to know that information in order to help guide me along my customer buying journey. Think about yourself. I often say to people, put on your aligned client hat, right? So as you're going out into the world and you're scrolling on your phone, looking at your favorite social media, whatever, and you are a client or a potential client, how do things feel for you? What are you connected to? I often like to say, as you're scrolling through your phone, you're on your phone and you're scrolling on Instagram or your favorite social media app, and you stop and you actually spend more than a second looking at something, or you actually read what the person wrote. What made you stop? Stop for an extra moment and go, oh, I just stopped at this. What made me stop? And realize what it was that they did in their marketing that made you stop. At that moment, you are playing the role of human being and you're getting into your aligned client's role to understand how they move through the world and how they resonate with marketing, or they don't, right? And so it's about repel and attraction. We actually want to repel the people that are not our aligned audience, and we want to attract the people who are our aligned audience. So that is really, really important. So we have lots of struggles, and I understand I have felt many of these things over the years. I remember 18 years ago when I first became a blogger, and yes, you can call me the grandmother blogger of bloggers, whatever, if you wish. This is pre-social media, and I remember that the trend for us bloggers back then was to blog every single day, 7 days a week. And I had colleagues who were blogging 3, sometimes 4 times a day times 7 days a week. Um, and stop and think for a moment how much energy and how much creativity that would take, and then pile on the kids and everything else that I was dealing with. I felt overwhelmed, and I actually got to a bit of a burnout. And so I actually hit the pause button, and I walked away from the "you should be blogging every single day" statement. And I figured out a consistent plan that worked for me, where I still felt lit up to show up for my community, to show up for my audience. And, you know, we can compare ourselves to all the other people that are doing what we're doing, but at the end of the day, only you are you. And you need to be able to take the capacity of how you are showing up in the online space. That's really, really important. So you need to create something that works, a system and a structure that works for you. Now, I know that I don't need to tell you the value of being consistent online and having a consistent online presence, but that doesn't necessarily look the same for every single one of us. And I'm definitely not here to preach to you about you should be doing this and you should be doing that, right? There are best practices, and you can ask me those best practices, and I'm happy to answer them. But again, at the end of the day, if that's something that's going to lead you to burnout or overwhelm, or you just start feeling icky or whatever the case may be, insert any negative feeling here, then perhaps it's time to hit that pause button and really reevaluate how you're choosing to show up so that you can nurture your audience and you can create raving fans, and you're again excited about that. Okay, so let's start about some basics in marketing. At Seneca College in our marketing program, we address the various P's of marketing. Okay, so you're going to see this Venn diagram in front of you with all of the P's on here. Now, it started back in the 1960s with 4 P's: product, price, places, and promotion. So those are on the kind of the outside of this Venn diagram. So a gentleman by the name of Jerome McCarthy introduced the 4 Ps to encourage us to focus in our business, or in the business at the time, on product, price, promotion, and place. So communicate what the product is that you're going to provide your customer. And a product can be, like, you could put service in there too, product or service. Demonstrate why the product's value fits the price point that it's at. Appear in the places that the aligned audience is going to encounter that product or that service, and use effective promotion strategies to reach your potential customers. Now, in my opinion, the most important P was missing from that 4P model, and the most important P is people. I'm sure that many of you probably agree with that, right? It's people. People are at the heart of our business. So all companies, whether it's the people who are running the business, whether it's the team who's running the business, whether it's the people who are offering customer support, whether it's the people who are your audience, people are at the core, at the center of that. So in 1981, there was Booms and Bittner extended it to add 3 more elements: people, processes, and physical evidence. And I'm going to dare add one more P to the whole marketing mix, if I may, and that is plan. Now, if your heart starts to do palpitations because you're like, I'm not a planner and I don't consider myself to be all that organized, it's okay. Take a deep breath. There's lots of ways that planning takes effect inside of our business, and we're going to dive into some of that today. So first of all, we are going to talk about plan, even though people always come first. But without that plan, how are we going to know how to connect with the people, right? That's the reality. So here we go. Are you a fly by the seat of your pants type person, or a throw the spaghetti at the wall type person? No judgment. Many of my clients often relate to that or identify as I'm a fly by the seat of my pants. Or some people say I have to work in flow, and that's the only way that I can work. But the reality is, regardless of what type of person you are, you do need to embrace the plan, right? If we don't have a plan, we don't necessarily know what direction to go in. So there's a quote, a goal without a plan is just a wish, right? We don't want to make wishes in our business. We want to take our business seriously and create that plan, right? So here are the signs that you're going to see when you have a plan and a strategy in place. The following magical things are going to happen. So I think I had another quote there. Yeah. A goal without a plan is just a wish. So you're going to feel a sense of relief when you have a plan in place. You create time to spend on your zone of genius, where you are creating a positive impact in this world. This is you serving your purpose and what you should, I'm using the should word, be doing, or sorry, what you should be spending most of your time doing, right? What you're good at, what your purpose is, because the world needs you. That's the reality. You will start to feel excited and refreshed. Your aligned content is going to flow with ease because you've taken the time and done the work that's required to create a plan in your marketing, so that when the creative spark hits you and gets ignited, you're going to know which direction to take it in. And you're not just going to be flying by the seat of your pants. You will start to also experience and see the results of your efforts. That's super exciting. That's what we want, right? You're going to start to hear feedback from fellow entrepreneurs that they've noticed your online presence, that they've really resonated or connected to what you've put out there, and that you're rocking it. Take that moment to celebrate when somebody reaches out to you and says that, or when they say, hey, I saw you on Facebook the other day. Da, da, da. Like, take a moment to go, oh, yes, that means I'm connecting with people. It means what I'm putting out there is resonating with them, and they're your aligned audience, and you're attracting them because of the stories that you are sharing. You're going to experience a newfound confidence because you're going to stop questioning yourself so much. And you're going to feel more motivation month after month to continue working on your online systems and your workflows. And don't worry, even us creatives, we need to have these workflows. And that really is a fancy word for just saying how you work best. How do you get into flow? We need these containers in order to keep us structured, in order to keep our marketing plan at the forefront instead of just flying by the seat of our pants. You'll be able to focus more on your passion and your purpose, knowing that you've got a system in place for your social media and your online marketing presence. And you'll feel confident in showing up to represent your brand, your business, and you. And this feels really, really exciting. So if you're not a systems person, I get it. Some people are just more creative type, and I get that. Creative flow is definitely my jam. I have learned how to take my creative flow and use it to my advantage, and recognizing our natural innate workflow and embracing that creates a natural system for you that's going to work and help you put a plan in place. And this sets me and all of my clients that I work with up for success. So, as I mentioned, almost 18 years ago, I was a brand new mom. I did not have very much sleep because my kiddos did not sleep very much when they're babies. Now they're teens and they sleep too much. I mean, you can't, beggars can't be choosers. And I considered myself to really be a nap time blogger who worked into the wee hours of the night, who worked at nap time. And trying to learn all of the tricks of the trade to have this online presence and form a community. Social media didn't exist, so I didn't have that to help me. And there wasn't a whole lot of training out there either. And yet I was able to create a plan and a consistent work structure that worked for me to be able to syndicate my blog to over 100,000, pretty new parents for the most part. And it was really successful. And we have to take that time, PS, also define, what does successful look like and mean to you? Stop comparing yourself to the other people and take a deep dive for what success really feels like and looks like for you, because then you'll be able to define your own success, because all of our success is different, because you do you, and we're all unique and different. So as time went on, I had the privilege of working with so many different brands and businesses, big brands like Netflix and Today's Parent, and startups and business owners and everybody. everybody in between. And I've learned about the struggles and the challenges that business owners have in the online space. As a trained educator and a professor of marketing, my goal is always to meet you where you're at. This is where I don't believe in the one size fits all comes into place. And I instinctively teach entrepreneurs how to reach and connect with their aligned audience. And doing so in the online space became my specialty, as navigating the online world has always been my gift. And now I'm here with you, super excited to teach you about the system that I use in my business, to chat about social media and all of your online presence. And I wish that I could wave a magic wand to make it all happen overnight for you and put it into autopilot. But the reality is it does take time. It takes effort. We have to be patient. Relationship building. This is what it's all about. One-to-one connections, right? We start with one person and then they talk and we create raving fans and our business grows. It takes time and work and reflection and dedication, all those things. And over time, you're going to experience results that work their magic, and the world will start to hum for you. So are you ready to feel refreshed and excited? Are you ready to feel confident and motivated? It definitely would be nice to know that you've got the month ahead planned out, that you know where you're going, you know what content you're putting out there, right? It would feel really good if you've had that organized. So I'm going to talk about that today. So now that we've talked a little bit about why we're all here and why this is important, we're going to talk about what to do and how to do it. So how you can create content that connects with your aligned audience, and what steps you need to take in order to implement that plan, and what types of posts you can consider in order to connect with your online audience and to nurture them through their customer journey. Being organized about this means having a system in place. It means to understand deeply and connect to your own individual personal workflow so that you can be as productive as possible and spend less time doing this stuff and more time doing the stuff that you actually are meant to be doing and love to do. And giving yourself grace when you need it, right? This last part is so extremely important because things are going to be difficult. Remember those stairs, right? And the man hopping up and down and think he's getting to the top and then falling off again. It's going to get hard. I remember when I joined Norwex years ago, I remember my mentor at the time saying, "Welcome to the roller coaster ride of entrepreneurship." And she was so right. All right. So we're going to plan to get organized in our business. And I just want to quickly touch on 5 different aspects of being organized, and having these things in place will help you then create your content with more ease. So just trust me on this journey that we're going on today. It will all come together, I promise. So in order to be organized, you need to have a place to record your meetings, your different events like today, your classes, your offerings, your ideas, your plans, your content, your reflections, right? So the tools that can help you do some of this, having a calendar, and having a calendar that works in all the places that you are. If you're a paper pen type person, I get it. That's great. Have an agenda or a planner that works really well for you, that's small enough that can fit in your bag or come with you in your car wherever you go. A project manager. This is basically a fancy name for a glorified to-do list. My favorite tool is called Todoist. Todoist. And it's an app. You can also connect it on your computer. There's a website, and it can help you organize your daily to-do list, your weekly to-do list, your monthly workflows, quarterly checklists, annual checklists and to-do lists. And it also can help you swoop out and take a bird's eye view of all of the moving parts of your business. A notes manager or a resource manager. Some people like journals and books. Some people like planners. Some people prefer graphic organizers. I'm digital girl. Believe it or not, I actually do love to jot out when I first come up with an idea with a paper and pen, or pencil. I shouldn't say pen. I'm a pencil. I have all of my pencils because I like pencils. I don't know. I have a thing about pencils. But I also have a very organized resource manager online. I use Nimbus Note. There's Evernote, there's Notion, there's all kinds of amazing tools. If you're ever wanting a digital tool to support you for something specific, please feel free to reach out and connect anytime. I'm always happy to throw out, my favorite ones. Yeah, I'm coming to Canva in a moment. Trello's another good one. Yes. Apple Notes and MailerLite. Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of people like Trello. I very much prefer Todoist. Trello, I had a hard time, not that a hard time wrapping my head around it, but it just, Todoist has a few more functionalities that I really needed in the way that my brain works and in my personal workflow. Scheduling tools, right? Feel free to drop in the comments if you have a scheduler for like social media content, or if you have, like Teresa mentioned, MailerLite. I use Aweber for my newsletter scheduler, and creator. Some people use MailChimp. So creating these tools, or these besties, business besties that we can lean on, that we can rely on, is really important. Creative tools. So this is where Canva comes into place. I'm on Canva every single day. Canva, you can create all kinds of beautiful graphic designs, and you don't have to be a graphic designer, and they have templates that are fantastic. I like Wave Video, Big View Teleprompter. If you need to be prompted for some of your videos, it's really helpful because you can write out your script and read it out, but you're staring at your camera at the same time, so nobody knows you're reading it out. You just have to practice so that it feels more in flow and you're not reading it. Yeah, Canva templates are amazing. There's nothing wrong with Canva templates. Just make sure you're branding it to you and you're all good to go. So making sure that you have embraced all of your business besties is very, very helpful in your business. Now, let's talk about content that aligns with your audience, and creating a content plan. So when it comes to content, I do encourage you to give some thought about choosing your go-to form or type of content that you're going to focus on a regular basis. So in order to choose that, or figure out what that's going to be for you, I want you to think about, do you prefer to talk? Are you a talker? Do you like to talk things out? If you do, maybe you want to start considering a podcast, or perhaps a YouTube channel if you're comfortable being on video as well. If you're a writer and you love, like, words just flow out of you and you can write it down, and you're a paper pencil type person, maybe you want to create a blog for yourself and create a blog on your website. Or if you don't want to do that, or you don't have a website yet, maybe you can be a guest blogger. There are a lot of online publications that are always looking for writers as well. And if you can find one that is connected right in with your niche, that's even better, right? There are lots of different publications in all kinds of different industries that are always looking for guest publisher, guest writers, and it's a really great way to get yourself out there. So blog posts, online publications, newsletters, right? If you love to write a good juicy newsletter every week to your people and guide them along their customer journey, and really nurture them. And perhaps you're a creative and you just love to create. And so that might be something where you love to create and play. Maybe you're into the TikTok scene. That's not my scene, but maybe that's your scene. And you love to create, fun, unique videos and reels on Instagram, creative videos, playing in Canva or some other form design tool, and you want to just create, then yeah, absolutely, you can go ahead and choose that as your main content. So from there, if you create a consistent flow for yourself where that is your main form of content. So let's just take a blog post as an example. Okay. So you write a blog post, I don't know, it's 1,000, 2,000 words, whatever, however many words it is. You are likely going to, if you reread that blog post through a different lens, swoop out and take a bird's eye view, I can almost promise you that you can pull out 5 to 10 individual subjects for posts, right? 5 to 10 Instagram posts, or 5 to 10 LinkedIn posts, or 5 to 10 little paragraphs or snippets for newsletters, right? And break it apart. Don't reinvent the wheel, right? it's really important that you're maximizing your time and that you're as productive as you possibly can. So think about where your strengths lie. Think about what jazzes you up, what lights you up, and choose that as your main form of content. Um, okay. So brand pillars. Every month inside of the Heartledpreneurs Collective, one of the sessions that we meet for is social media think tank. I'm actually thinking of renaming it to marketing think tank because it's not just about social media, but that's neither here nor there. I guide people and bring people back to their brand pillars on a very regular basis. So I'd like you to think, and if you already have brand pillars, then fantastic. I want you to use this time or invite you to use this time to reevaluate them and reassess them, reflect on them, because it's so important in our business to hit that pause button and reflect often, because without us even realizing it, our business can be shifting or our aligned audience can be shifting. And we need to make sure that the content kind of shifts to meet their needs or to put out the proper positioning for our marketing. So our brand pillars, usually I suggest that we have 5 to 7 core pillars, and these are themes or content themes. Some people call it cornerstone content. That's an SEO term that we use, a search engine optimization term, if you're not familiar with that, what SEO stands for. When people put into Google what they're looking for, right? If your website is SEO, search engine optimized, it's going to help people find you. So your cornerstone content needs to reflect that in order to attract your aligned audience. So think about your brand and your business and think about 5 to 7 core topics that you can explore, that you can educate people on. I'm going to give you an example because examples always help. So currently, well, since April, I've been on a very focused wellness journey for myself, putting my health first and making it a true priority for myself. And I've been working with a coach in a program. And so if I were to explore her brand, because I'm a geek and I do that from the outside in, I'm like, oh, I know what their core brand pillars are. I know what their core content is. So here are some examples of inside of this wellness program, what her core brand pillars would be. Food, right? Supplementation, right? Health, vitamins and supplements to support your wellness. Self-care, mindset, exercise, and personal growth. And when you take, how many is that? 6, I think. When you take those 6 brand pillars and you put them together, and then you put her brand as the overarching umbrella over top, it all makes sense, right? Those are all the topics that I need to explore, that I need to prioritize, that I need to learn about in order to be as well or as healthy as I possibly can be. Does that make sense? Again, drop your questions, put them in all caps so they kind of pop out to me, because otherwise I'll get distracted and go down rabbit holes, which we don't want. So start thinking then, when you have those pillars, and I'll pause in a moment for you to just think, but when you have those pillars, I want you to think inside of each pillar what the subtopics would be, right? Food is a very large topic. There's a lot that we could cover in food. We could break it apart into subtopics like breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, desserts. I don't know what, like all, different types of food, fruits and vegetables, meats, legumes, proteins, carbohydrate. Like there's lots of ways that you can subcategorize food. So a lot of people like to make a mind map for their brand pillars and branches instead of just seeing it as actual pillars. So you put your brand in the middle, and then you draw the lines out and circles, and you put your brand pillars in the circles. And from there, you're creating a spider web, right? You're webbing out from each one of those. So take a moment, and this isn't written in stone. Nobody's gonna be marking you on this, but just jot down in front of you, if you haven't already, what you consider to be, 5 to 7 core themes or topics in your business. This is something that I'm going to invite you to consider exploring on your own time after today in more depth. If you're anything like me, when I'm listening to somebody talk, I can't do my own focused work. I can jot down some brief ideas, but then I need to go into my own little little cave and do the work on my own. Kind of a introvert that way, I guess. So I'm going to shift the slide here. Just I have another way to look at it. So we've got our content pillars. The other key aspect that comes underneath our brand is our personal brand, right? And that's going to look different for each of us depending on what your business is, right? I'm a coach and a consultant. So when you sign up to work with me one-on-one, or when you decide to join the Heartledpreneur membership and be part of the group that works together, you're seeing me on a regular basis. You're hearing from me on a regular basis. It's my ideas, it's my personality, it's me. And if you don't like me, then I'm not the right fit for you. And so in order for you to decide that and be attracted to me or repelled from me, I need to put my personal brand out there. That does not mean that I'm spilling all of my, juicy whatever about me, right? I get to pick and choose. I get to curate my personal brand. I am transparent. I am an open and honest person, but I'm not going to spill my kids' private lives out into the internet, right? I'm going to curate what I share. I'm going to curate. I am a mom. I have two teens. Being a mom of a teens is rather challenging, but I'm not necessarily going to put all of the, little nitpicky aspects of that. I'm going to decide what it is I want people to know about me, what's important that I share about myself so that people can make that decision as to whether they like me or trust me. Right. So if you go back, I'm not going to find it, but that slide at the very beginning where I shared about baking and hiking and astrology. And I mean, I could go on and on. Coffee. I love coffee. Do you like my mug, by the way? I finally got my act together and I designed a mug that I'm super excited about. But coffee is something that you will not ever find me without. Um, so these are things that I decide to brand myself around. It's a way that we can connect. Remember, I talked about human to human. It's a way that we can connect, make those human to human connections. So leverage your personal brand. Take time to create your personal brand. Let people into your world. Let people get to know you. And if you're somebody who's shy, or you're somebody who's a major introvert, it's not going to be you going blah one day to the whole world and spilling everything, right? This is something that's going to take you some time to warm up to the idea. I have a client who is two years in business, well, 2 years and a couple of months into business. And she looked at me like I had 10 heads when I said to her that on her about page, she needed to actually introduce herself and share her mission and why she's doing what she's doing. And she said, oh no, I couldn't possibly put myself, my picture anywhere on social media. And there's no way I could do that. And guess what? Now, 2 and a bit years later, she is slowly finding ways that she can feel comfortable, but also push herself to put herself out there. And there have been things that she's posted and she's deleted because it hasn't felt right, right? And you'll know, you hit that publish button, and 2 seconds later, if you feel like you're gonna be sick to your stomach, that's your sign that says, oh, I think I overshared there. I need to go hit the edit, or I need to delete it. And that's okay. The only way that you're going to know where those limits are or those boundaries are is to put yourself through that and to explore how it feels on the other side. So your personal brand is a really, really important part of your overall online presence. The next one is pain points and challenges. So this is thinking about your aligned audience specifically, and we'll talk more about them in a bit, but thinking and honing in on the pain points and challenges that your aligned audience experiences. What is their biggest problem when it comes to how you can serve them, and what problem you can solve? What are they challenged with? And what are their dreams, their desires, and their visions? What journey are they looking to go on? What transformation are they looking to experience? So taking the time to dive deep into your content pillars, your personal brand, the pain points and challenges, the dreams, the desires, and the visions will help you understand what type of content to be creating for your audience. Okay. I'm going to take a drink of water. Just give me a brief moment. I want you to remember that I talked about P for plan. A plan doesn't mean that it's set in stone. A plan means that you're giving yourself a focus. You're giving yourself a little bit of structure to help guide you on your journey forward, to help you move with ease and flow and ultimately end in success. If we move forward without a plan, we're not going to be intentional with our online content, right? And if we're not intentional, things are going to fall off the tracks real fast, and it will get very confusing for us, and it will get very even more so confusing for your aligned audience. When your vision and your path is very clear and you have your goals set in place, then you can proceed with ease. Okay, so this is all fine and dandy. Just remember, though, that life is not a straight line, right? It's not about, okay, set my goal, create my plan, and now I go forward on my path from A to B. I wish it was that easy, but it's not, right? It's that roller coaster ride. It's that stair climb and up and down and dance and trampoline jump, whatever, whatever we want to call that. I'd love to know what that was for. But that's neither here nor there. So I do believe that as a heart-ledpreneur, one of your superpowers is the ability to navigate around obstacles, right? As an entrepreneur, you are likely very flexible. You're also likely very creative and can come up with ways to move around obstacles. It's okay if you feel stuck for a moment, hit that pause button, reevaluate, take time to assess, to reflect what happened to get you here, what needs to happen in order to move through. If you can't do it on your own, reach out for support. But I have absolute faith in you that you can navigate through that obstacle with ease if you give yourself the time, have patience with yourself, and grace. Okay, your aligned audience. We need to know who our aligned audience is in order to help them. Right? That kind of makes sense. So let's take some time to get to know your aligned audience. If you don't know your aligned audience, that's okay. It's time to do a little bit of work, hit that pause button and get to know them. If you're like, yeah, I don't need to do this, hit the pause button anyway. Inside of the Heartledpreneur Collective, we do a monthly reflect and connect. And one of the things that we're doing is reflecting on things like our aligned audience every single month, because when we hit that pause button and we take the time to reflect, we learn new things. I constantly am rewriting in many different ways, however it comes out of my head or my heart, things about my aligned audience. And I surprise myself sometimes what I come up with, even though I feel like I know my aligned audience inside out and backwards. I'm constantly learning new things. Why? Because I'm working with new human beings all the time, right? And I'm exposed to new human beings all the time. And I hear new ways of them explaining their problems. And then I'm able to explain how I help solve their problems or I help support them through their problems. So it's important that we reevaluate this on a regular basis. I know that if you registered for this, you're going to be sent the slides. So don't feel like you have to write all of this down. You can also feel free to take out your camera and take a quick picture of this too. But let's just quickly go through these questions. And again, this is something you'll want to take a deep dive with on your own time. So what problem are you solving? Is there a problem that you're solving? Not every single business is necessarily solving a problem, but there's often challenges that are connected to what you're offering. So think about from that angle if you're not directly solving a problem. What are you helping your audience or your people navigate? What transformation would they like to experience for themselves? So if they were to draw a straight line from A to B, where are they now? How are they feeling now? And where do they want to get to? And how will they feel once they get there? What are their pain points and their struggles and their challenges, not only with the current situation that they find themselves in, but also what's challenging them or blocking them from moving forward in their customer journey with you? What type of information, what type of content inspires your aligned audience? One way you can discover that is by scrolling on social media. Even if you don't love social media, it's a great place to get ideas. Pinterest is a really fantastic tool to use. It's a great search engine, really. And so you can drop in all kinds of your core pillar topics that we talked about, or your brand pillars, and drop that into Pinterest, and you can get all kinds of information as far as inspirational ideas. What motivates your audience? What drives them to take action? What drives their decisions? So what is the driver that helps to make their decisions, right? There are different drivers that different individuals, like some people are when they make a decision, they're doing it because they have to feel into it. Some people need to do research and really understand all of the different angles. So think about, again, put on your client hat as you're navigating the next week or two in just life in general, and think about the decisions that you're making about products that you're buying, or when my son needs a pair of winter boots. Oh yeah, a month ago, I asked him to try on his winter boots, and he said, yeah, they fit, all is well. And this morning it snowed, and guess what, Mom, my boots are too small. We need winter boots. So I'm going to put on my client hat and think about, okay, what stores are my options, and what's going to figure out what's going to help me decide where to go to buy those boots. What do we need? What are the things that are important to us, etc. And that will help me then, as I'm creating content for my aligned audience, that will help me help them through their decisions. What information do they need to know in order to make a decision to work with you, or to purchase your product, or to move forward on their customer journey? Where does your audience hang out online? If you don't know, you might want to talk to some of the people that are your clients or are your past clients. You might want to do some of your own research to figure out where they're hanging out, where do they spend their time, because you want to marry that with where you're spending your time as a business owner. And I'm not suggesting that you have to be or you should be in all the places, because where you're spending your time, you need to feel lit up about it too. If you don't enjoy being on Instagram, then you probably don't want to be on Instagram, because you're going to hit burnout and you're going to start almost resenting having to be there, right? So you want to make sure that you're finding joy in where you're hanging out. Either that, or you can also hire out, right? I'm just going to add my 2 cents on that. There's nothing wrong with hiring someone to support you with regards to social media if you're too busy for it, or if it's not your jam. I just really want you to make sure that you're still very much connected to it, right? I've had many people over the years. I did social media management years ago, and people would reach out to me and they would say, I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. I want nothing to do with it. Just go. How much do you charge? Well, I can't just magically create the content that's going to align with your audience if we're not working very closely hand in hand together, right? I'm the face of your brand at that point in time if I'm putting your social media content out there. So you need to make sure you're really connected if you're going to hire out for that. Think about what their day-to-day life is like, right? Even just go through the day in the life of my aligned client from morning till night. What do they do? What do they experience? What lights them up? What challenges them? How do they feel? What do they want to feel? How do they want to feel? What do they want to do? What do they wish they were doing? Like all of those things, so that you can get to know them inside out and backwards. So then we want to think about, once we get to know our aligned audience a little bit better, we want to think about what content is going to appeal to our audience. What type of content is going to capture their interest? What type of content is going to make them curious? What type of content is going to feed their thirst for knowledge? What type of content are they going to relate to? You want them going, oh, yes, I understand. Yes, that's me. Yes, I'm over here. What do I do next? Yes. You want them thinking those things and nodding their heads as they're reading your content, wherever they're reading it, on a blog, in a newsletter, listening to it in a podcast, on social media. It doesn't matter where it is, right? But you want them going, yep, that's me. Yep. Wow. They know me really well. Like they're not going to necessarily think that exactly, but they're going to be at a minimum subconsciously thinking, going, yep, they hit the nail on the head. That's me. And it sounds like they have a solution for me, right? Remember that stories sell. So remember when we were talking about the fear of being too salesy, and I think some of you mentioned, yeah, that's me. I have a fear of being too salesy too. I always made the joke that I was not born a salesperson. Like I couldn't be farthest from the truth. The reality is, when we tell stories, real stories, right? Either stories from our clients, experiences that they've had, I told you the story about my client who's been in business for 2 years, who was scared to be the face of her brand. She was scared to sign her emails by her name, all the things, right? You might have felt a connection. Stories sell. So find ways to create stories. Not everything has to be this massive embellished story, because you might say, well, I'm not a storyteller. I don't know how to tell a story. It doesn't have to be a massive story, but we want to make it so that you're connecting to their heart, right? You can think about when somebody tells a story that feels so juicy and so good, your heart feels connected to that moment or to that person, and you want more, right? You're thirsty for more. Okay. Just gonna skip ahead here. I already talked about where your audience hangs out online. So we want to think about the purpose of the content that you're creating. We don't want to be just creating content because I should be creating content. We want to be making sure that we are creating content that educates our audience, that offers them value. We want to create content that builds the know, like, and trust factor for us as a solopreneur, but also for our brand. How can we do that? We can do that through our personal branding, right? And through sharing our own stories. I told you I'm on a wellness journey. I can't tell you how many direct messages on Instagram I receive when I share what I'm making for the week ahead for my weekly lunches. I pre-plan what I'm going to eat to make it easy so that I'm opening the fridge, not going, I don't know what I'm going to eat. And I post when I'm kind of batch cooking those things. I get so many DMs and have so many juicy, amazing connections. And that's where those connections start, right? Not all of those people are necessarily going to become my clients, but it's creating those connections and creating that know, like, and trust factor. So even if that person who I connected with is not going to become my client, they may refer somebody to me because I've now come top of mind and I've become human to them, right? I'm not just a brand hiding behind social media. We want to create content that is inspirational or motivational, that nurtures our existing clients, and that helps to retain our raving fans. So we need to think about customers and various aspects of their journey and creating content that meets them where they're at, right? We want to create content that raises brand awareness. What does your brand stand for? What is your mission? What are your values? You want to engage your audience and create connections. So think about how you can create content. If I use social media posts as an example, and it doesn't have to be in every single one either, but how can you engage your audience? You can ask a question, tell a story, or give some perspective, or share a framework. And then all good, Tammy, thanks for joining us. And then ask a question that is going to get them to percolate. Percolate's one of my favorite words. I love to percolate, and have them respond to you. Invite them into your DMs. If it's something that's maybe a bit more personal, again, depends on your business, right? You don't want to be asking your audience to share personal things necessarily, but you can invite them to send you a DM. If this is you, feel free to send me a DM and let me know your blah, 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 whatever it would be. And invite your clients to move along their journey with you. People need to have, believe it or not, they need to have invitations. We need to invite them. I would be remiss if I did not share with you about the 80-20 rule. Say yes in the chat if you are familiar with the 80-20 rule. I mean, we can use it in many areas of life. I was going to say all areas of life. That's not true, but many aspects of life, we can use the 80-20 rule. But when it comes to creating content, creating marketing content for your social media, for your newsletters, for your blog posts, right? 80% of it is going to be educational or inspirational or motivational. I think I said them all. And 20% is going to be promotional, right? If we don't do that 20%, people aren't necessarily going to know exactly how we can support them. They're not going to know how they can move along their customer journey with us. So we need to make sure that 20% of the time we're actually being very intentional and very specific, letting people know what we do and finding different ways to say it. I've been at networking meetings before where, I hear somebody who has introduced themselves multiple times at multiple meetings, and that specific day is the day they explain it in a way that I go, oh, now I understand what they do. Have you ever been in that situation? Think about social media. We don't get in, like, yes, we have X number of followers, but at the end of the day, they're not all seeing our content. So repetition is key, but also finding different ways to share what we do. And that 80-20 rule, making sure that 80% of our focus is on education, inspiration, and even some entertainment, some motivation, and then 20% is creating the promotional content. So remember, please, to continue on in life and business, doing you do you, or be yourself. It's so very important. When you have the confidence to show up as yourself, to own yourself, to own your personal brand, other people get to know you and then have ways that they can refer to you because they know you, or take the next steps with you on their customer journey because they've gotten to know you and they like you, or they, even better, they trust you. Trust is one of my core values. It's very, very important. If you can't trust me, then we have a problem, right? We need to be able to trust one another in order to work together. Okay, I made a promise to you at the beginning, and so very quickly, I'm just going to drop here. Feel free to use the QR code if you want to talk about Plan Fest. It's a time where Heartledpreneurs come together. We reflect significantly on the ongoings of this past year to understand what has worked well, what's not worked well, what needs to be continued, what needs to be stopped, all the things. Then we realign or reposition ourselves. We create new vision for moving forward, and we plan for 2023. Hopefully, I've talked about the word plan, in enough different ways throughout this talk that you understand this is not just for planners, right? I had one person say, oh, I'm not a planner, so I would never do Plan Fest. It's not about the planning. It's about taking the time to pause and to reflect and to create vision and to be in your business and focusing on what you want out of your business and how you want to show up. So if you're interested in joining us next week or the week after for Plan Fest, I am offering a 20% off code. So you just need to connect with me somehow. Send me a DM on Instagram. There's my handle, Digital Girl CA, or through Facebook, or send me an email and just let me know that you're interested, and I will share the code. I'd love to have some of you join us. I know last year we had a few people from this group join us, and they were so thrilled that they did. So that is all I have. I'm going to drop it on this last screen here. Thank you so much for being here, and I would love to take any questions that you have. I will scroll through to see. I think I kept pretty good tabs there on the chat.
Yes, I think you did. Thank you so much. It was really, really very valuable. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. If you can, let me remove the spotlight, and I'll see everybody. And if you can put your hands up, because I have unmuted all of you. There you go. If you have any questions at all.
If you don't have questions, we could always also feel free to share something that you learned today or an aha that you had. Feel free to share, something that you are going to take action on in your business.
The thing that I find most interesting from my clients, what they tell me, is that once they have most of them don't have a social media plan. And then when they put the plan and the pillars in place, it really helps to just go like away to the races, because now they actually know.
Oh, this is what I'm doing.
Right. That's right. So
absolutely.
I find that's been very helpful.
The dots, right?
Yes.
We're connecting the dots and again, swooping out and taking that bird's eye view, right? And taking a look at the big picture and all of the moving parts, and doing the planning that needs to happen and setting that in place so that we can move forward.
Yes, exactly. So Tracy has a question. I'll ask her to unmute.
Hello, Tracy. So nice to see you here.
Hi. I just wanted to say that I've known Amanda for a really long time, many, many years, way back in my Smart Mitts days. And
Yes.
that was like 8, 9 years ago. And I just wanted to comment that consistency, you are a prime example of that. Even
Aw.
though, we haven't really been in touch that close in the last few years, I've seen you online. I see you in, events, and I see you connected to Tammy. And I'm like, this girl is the very definition of consistency. So you practice what you preach, and I really appreciate it. And I'm happy to kind of be reconnected now. And I will reach out to you and join your Plan Fest. Because I'm going to need that.
Yeah, we all do. We all do. That's the reality, right? And I love Plan Fest just as much as everybody else does, because we all need that time and space. So it's beautiful. Thank you, Tracy.
So Bukati asks a question in the chat box. Yes.
For content, do you suggest explainer videos? So that great question. It kind of depends what your business is, right? I find that explainer videos work really, really well for certain types of businesses that need to have that very visual and that explanation, right? So it very much depends on what your business is, but explainer videos can be very powerful. Yes. Which tool to explainer videos? There is, oh gosh, you might have to reach out to me. Starts with a D. I think you're gonna have to reach out to me, and I'll take a look at it. And I will let you know, because I can't, it's the name of it's not coming top of mind. I mean, Canva, you can use Canva for a lot of things, but I don't think that's exactly what you're looking for. So yeah,
I use Loom. I don't know if that's the same one that you know. It's free for under 5 minutes, so depending on
yes.
how
So
in
it
depth you
depends what
visit.
type of explainer video, right? If you're
Yeah.
doing a screen share, Loom is a great tool. I use a Screencast-O-Matic for that.
Yeah.
That I really like. But that's only for like a screen share type explainer video, right? It depends. Like if you're looking to have kind of animated, maybe that's not what
Yes.
you're looking for, but there's one that you can create animations, and it's more complex, right? So,
Yes.
but Loom's a great one too. Yes, for sure.
Loom doesn't really allow you to like make boxes or add content as you're going through the explanation. So if you are, then you want what Amanda's telling you. Is it
More deep.
DaVinci Resolve or no?
No, I want to say it's like Doodler or something, but it's
Okay.
I can't. Yeah, that's
I don't
not
know.
coming. It's not coming top of mind.
Right. Right.
But you could, I mean, also hit Google, right, and put in explainer video tools,
Yeah.
top 10 explainer video tools, and I'm sure you'll get some good ones there for sure too.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions, anybody else? Otherwise, I can let you go a little early and you can get 7 minutes back of your time. So on Loom, yes, you share your screen, and at the same time, it can take a photo of you, and so it'll record you and your screen. Then you can use your mouse, so it can share on your mouse. You can also just use screen only or camera only and no video, so you can do a number of different things on it. There's quite a lot you can do on it, but also Canva can do quite a bit of the explainer videos. And then yes, if you want to share on social media, if you're wanting, is it more like an Illustrator video that you want to do? Then there's specific software for that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, exactly. You just save it and then you upload it to thank you for the all caps, Matthew. And you just upload it to your social media. I'm a solopreneur running an architectural design drafting company. Do you recommend posting anything personal, family, vacation, etc., on my business social accounts? Okay, good question. So you're a solopreneur. Listen, how many people are out there doing what you do, Matthew? Probably a lot, right? And so you want to create a personal brand that makes you stand out. I need to know that when I hire you to design something or draft something for me, that I feel like I know you already a little bit and that I can trust you. So how can you create that know, like, and trust with me? You get to decide what you're sharing. Do you feel comfortable sharing family vacation? Some people don't, and that's okay. If that's something you feel comfortable sharing, Absolutely. And here's one way you could do it to connect it back to your business. If you're on vacation, there's probably all kinds of like architectural fun things you could take photos of, right? So you could even connect it back to what you do in your business, but at the same time, sharing a little bit of your personal story and journey because you're on vacation in a cool place, right? So it's balance. And I use that word very carefully, because what is balance? You certainly don't want that to overtake your social media, but I do find that the companies, the businesses that make personal stories part of their brand, and if you don't want to make it part of your feed, and I use Instagram as an example a lot because it's one of my favorites, so my apologies on that. If you don't feel comfortable putting it all in your feed, you could do it in your stories, right? Make your feed mostly about your business, make your stories more personal. That's one way that some people have felt more comfortable doing it. So there's lots of different ways you could do it, but that's a great question. I hope I helped you with that, Matthew.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. That was well answered. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Wishing you a wonderful afternoon. Hopefully we'll see you here online or in person at any events. Tomorrow I am going to the Whitby Unique Makers Social if anyone's interested. There's over 70 makers with us under one roof at Unique Town Boutique in Whitby. So the information's on our website. So check it out. Join me there. And wishing you all a wonderful afternoon. Amanda, thank you so much for your fantastic presentation. Appreciate it very much. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.